All right, section 4.2 on graphing linear equations, and we're going to use what I like to call the plug and chug method in order to graph linear equations today. And we're also going to talk about the general equation for a horizontal line and a vertical line. So anytime we have a linear equation, we say that any point on that line is a point that makes the equation true, and therefore, since a line has an infinite number of points, there are an infinite number of points that make a linear equation true, and they're all in that form of an xy point. So any solution to a linear equation is going to be an ordered pair. One of the things that you'll have to do in the homework tonight is you'll have to look at a graph and then verify if those points are solutions. Also, you'll be asked to do and check it algebraically. So we're going to do that here. The equation is 4x plus y equals 8, and the question is the point 1, 4 a solution to that equation? One of the things you have to be careful of in this problem is you have to look at the scale. And if you'll notice, each tick mark here is worth 2 instead of 1. So when we look at the point 1, 4, we're actually starting on the x-axis right in here. And when we go up to 4, it goes up into that spot. So the question is the point 1, 4 a solution? And so to check to see if the point 1, 4 is actually, it looks like it's on the line, but is it really? We're going to plug it in. So we plug a 1 in for the x, and we have 4 plus 4 equals 8 because we plug the 4 in for the y, and yeah, that's true. So the point 1, 4 is on the line. Is the point 3, 4 on the line? Well, it doesn't look like it to me. It looks to me like the 3, 4 is way off to the right, and as I check it out and I plug in the 3 for the x, 3 times 4 is 12, and I plug in the 4 for the y, we get 16. Is 16 equal to 8? No. 16 doesn't equal 8, so it's not part of the solution. Okay, the next idea is how are we going to graph using plug and chug, and what does that mean? Well, for most of you, my idea of plug and chug is the idea of making a little t-graph and plugging in numbers for x and getting a number out for y. When I plug in a -1 for x, I have 5 times -1 is -5, and what's the value of y that will make that true? A -3 will. So we go to -1, -3, and that's going to be about right there on the graph. 0, 2, when you plug in 0 for x, you get 5 times 0 is 0, so that means you're going to need a 2 for the y to make 0, so we'll go to 0, 2, and that's about right there. And 1, 7 is a point on the graph, so 5, 6, 7, 1, 7. So now I got 3 points there. Is that enough to make a graph? It certainly is. And I don't know how accurate I'm going to look here, but I'm going to go ahead and try to do this by hand. And there's the graph of my line. So that's graphing using plug and chug method. Okay, now we're going to talk a little bit about horizontal and vertical lines. So ax plus by equals c is what we call the standard form of a linear equation. And when a equals 0 or there is no x value and you just have a y equals a number, then we're going to get a horizontal line in that. When we have a 0 for the x value, oops, I said that wrong. That's not going to go out good. Alright, so when there is no y value and this you have an x equals a number, that's going to give you a vertical line. So here's our equation, x equals 2, and you'll notice that there's an infinite number of points on that line. One of the easiest ones to talk about is x equals 2 and y equals 0. So this point right here. And of course that ordered pair is 2, 0. Well, every point on this line has coordinates, I'm going to go to 2 for x, negative 2 for y. So there it is right there. 2 for x, negative 2 for y. And I'm going to go up above here, up to the point 3, 2 for x, and 3 for y. So you'll notice it doesn't matter, the y values are any number, but the x value is always going to remain the same for a vertical line. When we have a horizontal line, it's going to be of the form y equals a number. And you'll see there's no x in there. A lot of students get confused about if it's a line, it has to have x's and y's. Well, it does. It's just that the x can be any value. No matter what the x value is, the y value is going to be just a number.